Most of the intelligence community doesn't believe he exists. The ones that do call him the Winter Soldier. He's a ghost. You'll never find him.
It sort of merges decades and decades of Captain America into one story. There's something for anyone who's been a fan of this. And how intentional was that?
Well, it was very intentional, and it's sort of amazing that you describe it like that. I mean, I always say we have a stack of comic books and a stack of favorite moments or favorite characters that wouldn't it be great to put in a movie someday. And the danger, of course, is that you have something that feels overstuffed or that feels like there's too many bad guys or too many characters or too much going on. We always want to focus on the story at hand. But when you're dealing with Captain America, who has a life in the 40s, who's dealing with his modern time, there's a lot of ground to cover. And it's all really told in this film from his point of view and from his struggle with trying to put the past behind him. And there's some scenes early on in the movie that directly sort of relate to that, to the fact that he's not quite comfortable working for S.H.I.E.L.D. or working with Nick Fury, whose morals and whose sense of right and wrong is seemingly different than Steve Rogers, and at the same time needing to move past that. And just when he thinks perhaps he's moved past that, the past comes in the form of the Winter Soldier right back to him. So it was always the goal to touch on those things. And while the film is very different than the first movie, it's an entirely different genre. It's a political thriller, contemporary thriller versus a period World War II movie. There were characters and there were loose threads that we wanted to continue to play with, to showcase his struggle with this, with the past and with the present.
Even though you're sort of adapting the Ed Brubaker Winter Soldier storyline, this is the entire history of Captain America that you've picked elements from.
Of course, and that's what was fascinating about the movie and the idea, and and the script that Marcus McFeely had written and Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel, was sort of a direction they were all heading in at the time, and we got to go in as comic book fans. I've been collecting comics since I was 10 years old, and sort of say, listen, this is what we would love to see from this character, and these are the things that we've loved, and these are the other things we want to enhance about him, and so it was really a very exciting prospect for filmmakers who are also comic book geeks.
Coming up on the drop zone, Cap.
You do anything fun Saturday night?
Well, all the guys in my barbershop quartet are dead, so no, not really.
If you ask Kristen out from statistics, she'd probably say yes.
That's why I don't ask.
Too shy or too scared?
Too busy.
All of the post-Avengers films have gotten a good response when there are a little nods to what has come before. Audiences like that, and not just comic book fans, movie fans. Now we're learning. This is our 9th movie. Guardians will be our 10th. Avengers 11th, Ant-Man 12th. So there's a lot of cinematic universe coming together, and we're realizing now that even almost just the average moviegoer is aware of at least some of the connective tissue between the films, and that does allow us to play with it. But always to the point, that it doesn't get overwhelming, or people feel like they need a book or a glossary to follow along what's happening.
It was a very well-crafted script, and we spent a long time in a room with the writers, going through the script line by line, and everybody pitching out ideas. It was a very collaborative process between us and Marcus McFeely and Nate Moore, who's a producer from Marvel on the movie, and Kevin. And you want to layer a thriller with surprises. I mean, that's where you get the thrills from. So you want to shock the audience. And the other thing about the movie is that it really represents what we like about tone in comic book movies and what we've always wanted to see in a comic book film. I want a movie to punch me in the gut. I want to walk in with my box of popcorn and I want to forget to eat it until the end of the movie. I just want to be grabbed that way. And so that's what we're trying to, we're trying to give that experience to audiences.
Do you think you're going to hit a point where it's 3 movies a year?
I don't know that we'll ever hit a point where we sort of, it becomes a corporate mandate to go. We're now moving to 3 movies a year. But by the nature of how we're developing the films and the filmmakers that are coming on board, if things are ready, we may do that. But right now, we're getting quite comfortable with this, with the 2 movie a year mold.
Well, you're knocking it out of the park. Thank you so much.
Good seeing you.
You're up. It's time.